Wilder Show podcast. I'm Scott. That's Lauren.
Hello.
Hey. Well, hi, Lauren. How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm pretty good. Lots of stuff to talk about.
Lots of stuff to talk about.
Since last we chatted. Instagram, you'll find us there. Search Wilder Show Pod. If you'd like to send us email and saw some of the holidays, thanks for that. If you want to send us email, just email to podcast@wildershow.com. The Wilder Show podcast drops Tuesdays and Fridays, 6 a.m. Central Time or before, on Spotify, Apple Podcast, iHeart, Amazon, YouTube, wherever you get your podcasts. Even right now, would you please like, rate, follow, subscribe, or share? We appreciate that. We're also on the TikTok. Wherever you find ourselves, really, honestly, right now, give it a thumbs up right now, or whatever you do, whatever the like button is, or comment. When you comment, even if you say, hey, you guys, that all adds up. So we appreciate that. Well, nothing kicks off a new year like a military exercise inside another country. And I know it was a law enforcement exercise.
Yeah.
Which I agree with. That is what it was. But man, I woke up about 4 on Saturday morning. And I've said this before, and it may sound like he doesn't really do that, but I really do. Whenever I wake up, even if it's temporarily, middle of the night, as 4 o'clock for me is the middle of the night, I will check my phone real quick and see what's going on.
Look at the news. Yeah.
I will pull up the news. I just want to see what's going on. And son of a gun, it's 4 o'clock in the morning, and they're talking about the raid that is going on, getting Nicolas Maduro. Yeah. Nicolas Maduro, the dictator, the once democratically elected president of Venezuela, the hand-selected replacement for Hugo Chavez, or as we say, Hugo Chavez. We'll go back and do a little bit of education, a little bit of context, a little history.
I'll take it.
To make it make sense, because it does all seem, I mean, I think a lot of people, you go, Hugo Chavez, they go, I don't know what country that's with. One of those down there. I don't know. I think a lot of people wouldn't know. If I said to you, which country has given us the most number of Miss Universes, you might know it's Venezuela.
I would not know that.
It's true.
That is the kind of thing I would tell you, though.
I know. Isn't that weird? It's odd.
You're stay in your lane there, buddy.
Yeah, that's right. Sorry about that. We'll talk about that. Anyway, I woke up 4 o'clock, and I watched it all the way from 4 o'clock in the morning on Saturday morning to, midnight Saturday night. And it had some, football there in between that I was watching. But man alive, just what a crazy thing. And of course, people are talking about it's all about the oil. Venezuela has more oil reserves than any other country in the world. Venezuela is perhaps the richest country in oil and minerals in the world. So a lot of people are saying, that this is Trump, he wouldn't care about this if it weren't for the oil. This is all about the oil. And a couple of things. There are different kinds of oil. I'm sure you know. You've ever heard in the oil markets, you'll hear people talk about light sweet crude. Like, what is the cost per barrel or the price per barrel for light sweet crude? And that's what we have here. Light sweet crude is what you can extract in America. And it is good for gasoline. The other is dark sour crude. So light sweet, dark sour. Light sweet is easier to process.
Okay.
And more easily turned into gasoline.
I feel like all I've ever heard of is light sweet.
That's right.
Is that just more like when you hear the...
Because it's here.
Report? Okay,
that's what we care about here. But the other is higher in sulfur. It's all kinds of particular things. It costs less than light sweet crude, but it is harder to and more costly to refine because of the heavier, the mineral components or whatever that are in it. You have to get those out. So the reason we hear more about light sweet crude is that's usually what you're getting out of the ground in America. The thing with Venezuela is the oil there is the heavier oil, and they didn't have the ability to refine that. They didn't have refineries that could turn that from just the oil that you can't do very much with into something that you can, like make asphalt or diesel fuel. The heavier is also good for diesel fuel and things like that. A little education here. I'm sorry. So when oil was discovered in Venezuela, and let's sort of fast forward from that date into the 70s. In the 1970s, in fact, in 1976, the country nationalized the oil industry. And what does that mean? It means the government took it over. See, because they had no infrastructure for oil. They were largely an agrarian society and an agrarian economy before the oil boom. Well, how did they get the oil boom? A little company called Exxon, which is now Mobil Exxon. You know, American oil companies that said, listen, we'll build it. We'll build it, but we're going to take the profits. We're going to take those out. So what happened was, spent billions, literally billions of dollars building the infrastructure, building the refineries, building the drilling equipment, establishing all of that, and working with the country of Venezuela to be able to extract this oil, because it's a massive chunk of oil, like a big, huge waterbed of oil that the country was sitting on, but they weren't doing anything with it. So in the 70s, the federal government nationalized the oil industry, and what they did was they said, we're going to take all this back. So the oil money then funded, public services. It raised the living standard. Everything was really good at the beginning.
Yeah.
So when you nationalize something, it's always good at the beginning. But you've taken away the people that have made it good. You've taken away, in this case, Americans and American companies that have put those things in place to extract the oil. And here's your 20%. We're taking 80% or whatever the percentage was in those days. The government says, well, that's not really right. It's kind of all our oil. It's our oil waterbed, and we want it all for ourselves. So they kick them out, and they take it all. And basically, it is the stealing of equipment and technology and all the work that has been built. So it's literally billions of dollars. I think there was one settlement that was like $14.1 billion, and one was an 8 point whatever billions of dollars. But they're all filed against and a judgment in favor of U.S. companies against a country that did not and has not and would not and will not pay any of that off.
So when you say it's basically the stealing of the equipment, it's because the country, kicks out the Americans, the American people, but everything that is in place, all of the billions of dollars, forget about the mental capital that went into putting it all in place. But it's not, they never would say, well, we're taking all of our stuff too. All the stuff stays and the people are out and go, okay, I got it.
The rigs, the refinery, they go, we got it now. We got it now. So he kicks him out. So what happens is in 1999, Hugo Chavez, let me back up. Hugo Chavez was known as a revolutionary there in Venezuela. So he was well known. He was like a general or something down there. And he then was elected president in 1999. And he promised what he called a Bolivarian revolution. So what he did was he even expanded the state control over oil. He tightened all the authority over the government-owned oil company, used the oil to fund social programs, all kinds of things. Nationalized other industries beyond oil, rewrote the Constitution. High oil prices in the 2000s made everything seem really good, but it masked problems that were there. They were really there. So Hugo Chavez dies in 2013. He names his successor, a guy named Nicolas Maduro, this guy.
Yeah.
Well, he inherits this system, and it's really fragile. It's not going well. Oil prices have collapsed. Mismanagement has worsened the whole thing. People siphoning, no pun intended, I guess, but siphoning money off. The U.S. sanctions added a little bit of pressure, but mainly this was all falling apart before any sanctions. Venezuela gets into a severe economic crisis. There's hyperinflation, shortages, mass immigration, people leaving the country, not immigration, but immigration, E-M-I, and declining oil production. In fact, at one time, the oil production there in Venezuela was 3 million barrels a day. It slipped down to, and currently I believe now is 800,000 barrels a day. So fully 25%. It's a 75% decrease. Anyway, so all this has gone on. So You say, well, that's, does the president want to go, steal their oil? No, I don't believe he does want to. And I'm not saying it's not about oil. It is about oil, and we'll talk about that in a second. But really, you have a guy who was indicted in 2000, and there was a federal indictment against Maduro and his wife. So there's a piece of paper that says you can go get this guy. Now, the thing is, he was in another country. Now, even though he was fairly elected, he was not fairly elected in the last election. He was defeated, not in 2025, but 2024. He was defeated. Maria Corina Machado, she was the winner of the election. Well, he did not, that is to say, Maduro did not give up power. He just kept it and has a female vice president and said, we're going to run things. And no, we don't give over the seat of power. We're not going to do it, no matter what the election says. So he stole the election. So he is not the rightly elected president of Venezuela. We did not go in and kidnap a rightly elected president of another country. That would sound bad if we had done that. We didn't do that. This is a guy who's been indicted and who is a dictator, and he is not the president of that country. Mm-hmm. Interesting side note, Maria Corina Machado won the Nobel Peace Prize that Trump, of course, was shooting for.
Yeah.
When she got that Nobel Peace Prize, she dedicated that to Donald Trump. She had originally been for whatever plan Donald Trump had for regime change there. Mm-hmm. But in the most recent chat with Donald Trump about this, he has seemed to say she does not have the support to be the person. So he has Delcy Rodriguez, the vice president under the illegitimate regime, has now been sworn in as the de facto interim president. Trump has said about her, and again, we're talking about Nicolas Maduro's vice president, saying if she doesn't cooperate, it's going to go very badly for her. So we need her to cooperate. And has said of Machado, she doesn't have the support. Now, let's see what happened. Since in the last several years, we've talked about the immigration problem, the people who have been leaving Venezuela. Where have they been going? Well, a bunch came to the United States. About 8 million people fled Venezuela. About 3 million, not 4, but somewhere between 3 and 4 million went to Colombia. So they really do want to go back home. They're not going very far.
Yeah.
They're going just like across the border or down the way a bit. And they are just waiting for it to be fixed. And when it's fixed, they'll come back. There has been great cheering around the world by people from Venezuela with the absence of Maduro. Maduro being extracted has brought cheers and all manner of good things for people around the world who are Venezuelan. But it's awkward for Machado because you'd think, well, wait a minute, Mr. Trump, why wouldn't you be for her? You say this guy was not legitimately elected, and you don't, though, support the one that was legitimately elected. And here's some of the weird chess versus checkers thinking. When you have 8 million people who have fled the country, it is certainly possible you could have a fair and free democratic election and end up, because the people that are left end up electing Maduro's vice president, which Trump knows and most people believe that would not be good.
Right.
I mean, they've been open to infiltration from Iran, from China, all manner of things. So how about then the woman who actually legitimately won? Well, she legitimately won when there were 8 million more people in the country who supported her. In theory, those are the people, the very people who said, I got to get out of here. And in the meantime, the military has been built up to support a dictator.
Yeah.
So if you bring in somebody that rough military sees as a soft target, they'll just overthrow it. Then where are you? You're back where you were before. So that's kind of that's a little bit of background on some of this stuff. I know we don't all remember the Monroe Doctrine, which Trump had to go in and say, we're now going to call it the Monroe Doctrine. I wish I were making that up. I so wish I were making that up. The Monroe Doctrine is basically this. We're most interested in our neighborhood. We care about the other cities, but really, it's about our neighborhood. Now, obviously, we're talking about the world, not your neighborhood, but our part of the world, our hemisphere. So the Monroe Doctrine was essentially, we're not going to bother you way over there, but you better not bother any of our stuff over here. We don't want any, European colonialism in our neighborhood.
It was kind of like you do you.
That's right. It's a 180 year ago version of you do you, the Monroe Doctrine. And there are some real problems with that. I mean, the good news, you could say, well, yeah, Monroe Doctrine means we're going to take care of our hemisphere. Hey, dadgum, we ought to take care of our hemisphere. That's most important. America first, and then the stuff that impacts America right after that. And if it's Venezuela, it's Venezuela. But here's sort of a side, weird, potential unintended consequence of that. If we do us and you do you, what is the message then to China regarding Taiwan?
You do whatever you want, and we're not going to be in your way.
What is the message to Putin and Ukraine?
Same thing.
So I think you have to be careful. You can't just use it as, well, I'm going to use this Monroe Doctrine idea for the things that we want to do, but then later we're not going to, So that's one thought that is, and a lot of stuff is scattershooty in the sense that just sort of updating on what happened and a little bit of background and history. I got to say, I think it's Marco rising. I mean, he was the best part of the news conference. The Joint Chiefs guy was great. He gave the TikTok. He ran down. Trump was okay. Trump was good. And Hegseth, but really Marco, it's Marco rising. I mean, he is explaining, we gave this guy plenty of time. This is a law enforcement exercise, not a military. He said we had to have military to protect the law enforcement so they could go in because in Venezuela and Caracas, they have anti-aircraft. So we had to take care of that to get this law enforcement exercise done. Not sure how much that's going to play. It's not playing well with everybody, but I really do agree with that. That is what would happen. Just like the times when Barack Obama did it without congressional approval, and they are legion. We could go over some of those if we need to. But Marco rising. I think is most nervous right now besides Maduro and the Mrs. Maduro?
J.D. Vance?
Yes. I think J.D. Vance's people are going, we were there too. We did stuff too over here. Because, he was nowhere to be found. And a lot of people think, well, it's going to be J.D. Vance and Marco on the next ticket. I'm not sure they're really good friends. Mm-hmm. And does
that matter, do you think?
They're friends?
Yeah.
Well, it might matter in the sense that somebody says, I think I can beat him. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think Marco, right now, anything could change. Right now, Marco, I think, could beat him.
Yeah.
I think Marco's the more substantive, really. So,
I do too.
Yeah. I voted for 100 years ago in the primary.
Mm-hmm.
And just go back and, a lot of people are suggesting this is very much like colonialism. That we're going to go in, we're going to remove somebody, we're going to take over the country. And I hate when Trump says stuff like he's on the airplane and he says, and don't ask me who's going to be running things because I'm likely to give you a controversial answer. So what the reporter does, Mr. President, who's going to be running things? We are, so we're going to run things. We're in charge. We're the new sheriff in town.
He's a showman.
Oh, but it reminded me of, remember what a viceroy is? You know what a viceroy? Remember that? Remember the title viceroy?
I don't.
Okay. Somebody was a viceroy. Mm-hmm. If you were an ambassador, for example, to another country, you would be the ambassador to France. So you would be an emissary of the country to, you're the liaison there, in this case, appropriate liaison, in France for your country. But when your country takes over another country, in the old colonial days, if Britain were taking over Kenya, you would place someone there to be in charge, like the little king of the area. But they really answered to the sovereign back in England. Right. But they are the viceroy. Okay. So I've seen it kicked around a little bit that Marco is, the viceroy of Venezuela. Got it. That he might be, but he's doing everything. He's running USAID. So I give it to Marco. Give it to Mikey. He'll eat anything. They just give it to Marco. But I think it's going to be very interesting to see where this all goes. It was that's not what I expected to spend a lot of time talking about today. but it is certainly the biggest thing. And of course, Maduro was in court yesterday, pleaded not guilty. He said, "I'm not guilty and I am innocent." The weird thing is, when you have an interpreter, you know, when the judge, if you're speaking English, the judge can just cut you off, right? If the person's going too far in what they're saying, the judge could say, "Mr. Wilder, enough of that," and move on. When you have an interpreter, all the words get out before the judge can know what those words were.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So you can get more of those things on the record. And so it will be at least a year before this will come to trial. And then it will be a very long case at trial, assuming it makes it to trial. I mean, who knows? But one other point, when people say it's all about the oil, yes and no. We don't need Venezuela's oil. The U.S. doesn't. We have plenty of oil. The U.S. does not need Venezuela's oil. So how could it be about the oil then if we don't need Venezuela's oil? Well, if Venezuela cuts a deal with someone else, like with China or Iran, it messes something up that I think most people aren't thinking about. And this is truly deep chess, not checkers.
Mm-hmm.
In 1970, I had to look it up because I remember the title, but I remember what year it was, either 72 or 78. It was established that all oil in the world that is purchased by any country must be purchased in U.S. dollars. They're called petrodollars,
okay,
but they're U.S. dollars. You say, what does that matter? Let me tell you what it matters. When a country buys millions and millions and millions of dollars of oil, they have to convert their own money into U.S. dollar to purchase it.
Mm-hmm.
It increases, obviously a little bit artificially,
right?
It increases the demand for that currency. It stabilizes the U.S. dollar. That's why it's important. If we were to be taken off of that standard, if petrodollars, that is to say, rooted in U.S. dollars, USD, if that were not the standard, it would impact negatively, send the U.S. dollar on a bit of a roller coaster. You can imagine if right now, I mean, billions of dollars, in theory, certainly hundreds of millions of dollars every week, if not billions of dollars every week, are spent on oil.
Right.
Every bit of oil that changes hands in the world is purchased with U.S. dollars. So if you have whatever is the denomination of your country, of China, they have to convert that to dollars. That puts a demand on dollars, which secures the value of the U.S. dollar, supply and demand, secures the value of the dollar, keeps it steady, keeps it high. Anyway, that's a part that is really so inside baseball that most people wouldn't even care to know about. But I do believe that while it's not about oil per se, it's about keeping the currency for purchase, the petrodollar, tied to the U.S. dollar. And that actually makes a very big difference, but in a way that I think it's a lot easier to say, yeah, Trump only wants this for the oil. Yeah, where's his interest in other? Well, first of all, not all countries have dictators, and not all countries we disagree with have dictators that have a federal indictment that has been in place. So he's not just running around. Now I say that if he does it, next week to some other country where there is not this, we can talk about it, but he's not just running around grabbing up the leaders in places where he doesn't like them and where they have oil to take over things. That's not what's happening. We do need, the people of Venezuela need good, solid leadership there that is representative. So you got to get peace. Then you got to have free and fair elections, and we'll see where that goes. We can't, what President Trump is saying is, where the way it currently is, with the vice president, Delcy Rodriguez, that is Maduro's vice president, just being sworn in, that is not good enough. And he doesn't believe, maybe he can be convinced otherwise, that Machado would be able to be supported without potentially being overthrown by the military. It's a mess. One quick thing about Tim Walz. Is it Walz? Walz. It's not Waltz like with a T. It's Walz, W-A-L-Z, right?
Walz, yeah.
Yeah, he's the governor of Minnesota. And he is not going to run for re-election.
Just as of last week, right? Yeah. Maybe today.
As of,
Yesterday.
he is not going to run for re-election because of that story we told you about. All that fraud going on in his state. And in his little I'm going away little missive that he put out some thing in writing that he talked about trying to trash President Trump and all this kind of stuff. It's like, dude, you're leaving because you did not tend the store. You did not mind the store. Or you mined the store. You didn't mind the store there in Minnesota. And so he's out. And I think Klobuchar, is looking at maybe taking that gig.
He did say he still thinks he could win, but he just doesn't really have the bandwidth to give it full attention.
Yeah, right. All roads lead to Seinfeld. He talks about, they said, the girl says, race him, Jerry, race him. You can beat him. He says, I could. I choose not to. That does not mean you really think you could win.
No.
Tim Walz knows he'd have his little fanny handed to him. And so he's not going to run. It is time for Scattershoot.
Let's go.
The Wilder Show Scattershoot. All right. Make sure you like, rate, follow, subscribe, share. Even now, you can do it right now. Some people, Lauren, I think it fast-forwarded right to this part because that Maduro thing does make some eyes glaze over. But I find it, there are some things that you want to know. There's some things that are fun to know. And there are some things that really we should know.
That's exactly right.
And I always like those things that we should know. I don't see that as, eating my peas. I like those things. Well, I like knowing things that I should know. And so we pass it on. And hey, you know what? If you can always go back. If you just forwarded and casting no aspersions, you can always go back and listen to it later. If you want to, and tell your friends. So
I don't think that it has anything to do with being, more interested in anything that we would talk about in this portion of the podcast than in the first part. I think sometimes I feel like there are things I don't understand. I might say, that's beyond my pay grade. But what I might be thinking is, I'm not smart enough to really understand that. And I don't think that's really true about anybody.
Right.
And even if you think that, I think let me not. I won't even use the collective you. I'll speak only about myself. Sometimes I might think it's not. I don't understand that. That's not my thing. But so many of those things, those are the very things that we really should know about, just like you said. And I think there's a lot to be said too for kind of having, I don't know if it's a gift, I don't know what it is, but you are able to explain a lot of those things in a way that I don't know if I could say it makes it more interesting. It certainly makes it more understandable, though. And I think that's really important. And it might not be the green vegetables of the world news, but you know what? Even if it is, green vegetables are good for us. And it's good for us to know those things. And it's helpful to have somebody who's willing to, you've ever heard, I know I used to say this to you sometimes, tell me like I'm 4.
Yeah, right.
Start at a really low level.
Talk to me like I'm a golden retriever.
Yeah, and then bring me along.
Yeah, well, first of all, thank you. I hope that's true. And secondly, I try and make it where it's something that I understand. It's like, because it all can be monetary policy and all this kind of stuff. It's like, what? But then you think, oh, no, this does make sense. So I remember the old days of USA Today. I mean, even as complicated as this thing happened over the weekend. And by the way, we didn't even get into the fact of what a miraculous military we have. I mean, what they were able to do, the TikTok, if you ever go back and listen to the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff talk about the TikTok of everything that happened, it is just remarkable. 120 aircraft were involved in this thing. It was just, unbelievable. He
said service members from age 20 to 49.
I know. Yeah, it was a remarkable thing. It's just, I do want to sort of sit up and salute Not because it was happened under a Republican. I mean, these people are apolitical. I know because I'm related to people that say we don't even talk about politics. We are for our country.
Right.
That's what we do. We would talk about that part. What I was going to say is USA Today, even as complicated as everything that happened over this last weekend, they would have it there on the front page with a little graphic, like 4 little boxes. Okay, that makes sense. I mean, somehow you could distill it down and say this happened and this happened, this happened. Anyway, welcome to Scattershoot.
Couple of corrections. Yep. We need to revisit a few things that we talked about last week. The first thing, thanks to Jennifer, who let us know that we mispronounced the name of Monty Monsibias.
Okay.
We talked about Monty last week, has served as a Dallas police officer for
57 years,
decades,
yes.
more than 5 decades. Started in the 70s, has held many different positions within the Dallas Police Department, and announced his retirement and will be retiring in February. So we want to certainly honor him by pronouncing his name correctly. Monty Monsibias, congratulations, and thank you for your service.
Yeah, amen.
Something else we need to revisit. So we talked about dancing last week. And we talked about dancing for just 10 minutes a day and how it could reduce your dementia risk by as much as 76%. Okay, I was really excited about this. And in the last few days since last we spoke, I've done 3 times. 3 times I danced for 10 minutes.
Did you really?
All by myself.
Okay, all right,
in my bedroom,
all right.
Closed door.
Nice.
Nobody, I'm not on display.
Nice.
Don't even want to look in the mirror.
I got you.
But I left something out.
Oh.
I think there's
Of the
something
dance?
that's cool. Well, yes.
Okay, go ahead.
I think there's something kind of important about this that I didn't understand.
Okay.
The reason that it's good for lowering your dementia risk is because there are steps involved. And you need to learn steps. And in other words, you can't just flail to the beat of the music, which is sort of what I do.
Okay.
So I would say
Interesting.
that there is a mood boost associated with it, especially if you're listening to music that you really like. You're still going to burn calories if that's something that's important to you. You're going to get some extra steps in if that's something that's important to you. But if you're just going to flail,
not the same.
might not be the same. Yeah, because that story has been picked up everywhere. I saw that 3 or 4 different places over the weekend just since last we spoke. So now I have to decide if I want to, and there are all kinds of ways. You don't have to take a class or anything like that to spend 10 minutes a day
dancing,
doing it. Well, dancing, but
doing an
according
activity
to
like that.
Learning steps, learning some kind of steps that will involve your cognitive abilities as well as just the physical output that you're going to spend on dancing. So, maybe talk to me next time and I'll let you know if I added that into it, if I've gone beyond just flailing, to the beat of the music, and I've added something a little more.
Well, this seems to support what I offered that I do.
What's that?
Which is skipping.
Yeah. Well,
that's skipping. That would be steps.
Yes.
And I usually do it in the parking lot, in and out of Home Depot or Tractor Supply.
You do not.
Or places or some other places.
You don't do it anywhere.
Oh, I have done it. Sure, I have. Absolutely.
Well, yeah. I mean, probably as a child.
No.
Skipped,
No, I've done it
recently.
I've done it. I've been with my sister or someone, and I've done it just to embarrass them. Out in public.
I'm guessing it worked.
Yes, it was.
Did they say, forget it, you don't have to come to the grocery store with me anymore? And you thought, success.
Just walk the other direction.
It's so funny, though, when you talked about skipping and you talked about it when we talked about it last time, too. All these things that you think, this is so silly. I remember the first time I had a dog from the time it was a puppy and thought, it never occurred to me that you'd have to teach a dog how to walk on a leash. I mean, you just see dogs your whole life walking on leashes and you think, well, that's just something they know how to do, which obviously they don't know how to do that. Right. My oldest son, I remember him being really interested in learning how to skip. He saw somebody skip.
That's funny.
And I thought, It's not really something. I mean, I guess that's
was
not
learning.
just something that we're born knowing how to do either. And like teaching him how to skip.
skip.
You know, there's a little hop
funny.
and then another little hop, and he was so excited when he got it. It was
funny.
a skill that had to be taught. So, R.I.P. Sprinkles.
Sprinkles.
And I do not mean.
You don't mean the.
I don't mean Angela's cat on The Office.
Oh, what are you thinking of that? I was thinking about the sprinkles that you put like winners. Sprinkles are for winners.
It is sort of that
sprinkles
kind of,
on top of ice cream or
it's
whatever.
more related to that.
What is it?
Sprinkles. Sprinkles. Did you ever get a cupcake out of the Sprinkles ATM?
Yeah, they got a vending machine for
24-hour cupcakes.
I think I personally never went to the. Isn't it like a big pink box or something?
Is what a big pink box?
The vending machine. Isn't it like a big? It's very colorful, as I recall.
The only one
It
that
didn't look like an old Coke machine or anything.
No, it was built into the wall of the bakery.
Oh, okay, maybe,
the only one that I'd ever been to.
All that to say, I don't think I ever did. No, I've never bought a single thing at Sprinkles, but I have eaten things from there that maybe other people bought and had wherever I was. I'd have a bite of it.
Well, we used to love Sprinkles. I guess it's near the time when they first came to Dallas, maybe 2014 or so, 2013, 2014. I remember my daughter, who was in high school at the time, big fan of Sprinkles. And at the time, they would put something out on, they'd tweet something and they'd say, if you're one of the first 100 people to the bakery with this and say this phrase, then you'll get, 2 for 1. And she would get that and we would find out about it and we would, head over there as soon as she was out of school and we would get our 2 for 1 cupcakes. But they were really good. My favorite flavor.
And why are they going away?
Well, the woman who started Sprinkles in 2004, I think, 2005, actually, Candace Nelson, founder. She started Sprinkles in 2005 with a KitchenAid mixer and a big idea.
Nice.
Sold the company, though, to a private equity firm, Carp Riley, in 2012.
Uh-oh.
But I mean, they've been around. It's been, well over a decade since she did that, and they've been successful for many years since then. And so, I mean, I've had a Sprinkles cupcake at, what do they call it now? It's not downtown Disney anymore. Disney Springs, which is sort of near the shopping and sort of shopping restaurant area near Disney World. They're all over the place. But my favorite was the one that was right here in Dallas. I think Preston Center, and that's the first place we ever got one out of the vending machine. My favorite was salted caramel. Okay. Anyway, I don't really know what the reason is. I mean, it certainly is a saturated market as sweet things like that, sweet bite-sized sweet treats.
Forgive me for not knowing this. Is there a freestanding store you can go in and buy Sprinkles things, or
not anymore?
I know that, but I mean, the vending was just sort of a novelty thing that was part of what they did.
Yes.
But you could go in like you go to a bakery.
Oh yeah, and
go in like everything bundt cakes or whatever. Yes. You could go in there and say, I'll take this and that, and
that's exactly what it was.
I never went in one. So
storefronts, and then I think I don't know if there was the ATM. I think was, as far as I know, the only ones I ever saw were adjacent to the bakery.
Makes sense,
because you had to have. I mean, you had to have a place to
bake them.
It's not like
fresh.
Somebody was just delivering cupcakes to a freestanding. I'm thinking like a photo mat, like an old photo mat, in the middle of a parking lot. It wasn't like that.
But did we ever see them in the airport? Did somebody saw one in the airport one time?
A cupcake
we could buy
ATM, maybe?
Buy a cup, maybe. I don't know. They have other things at airports that are sort of like that, where they bake them, or they deliver them fresh every day, and
I'd
whatnot.
have to do a little more research on that. But they announced the closing
R.I.P.
abruptly on New Year's Eve.
Oh man!
They were just all of a sudden gone with no warning. I will miss them.
Founder Candace, her name is Candy. That's funny. Candace Nelson confirmed the closures. So was she still involved?
I don't think so.
Okay, but she's confirming the interesting. Yeah, it's once you sell it off to somebody who is not a baker.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like when radio stations were sold to insurance companies, they didn't
Yeah.
know anything. Insurance companies know as much about radio as radio knows about insurance companies. That is to say, nothing.
Nothing. Yeah.
I mean, you know, why should they? So when you sell it off, don't be surprised if sort of the rules change.
And this also says neither she nor the firm explained the reason for the chain.
Oh, really?
closure.
That's even worse.
Yeah. I mean, she started this place 20 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
That's a long time for I mean, how much really can you diversify?
Mm-hmm.
How much can you grow within you've got other places that are learning from what you've done
like
and learning from the mistakes that you made and
Sprinkles opened its first location, did you say? Where?
No.
Beverly Hills.
Really?
Yeah. 2005. She left a career in investment banking, and then she trained as a pastry chef. The brand quickly became synonymous with the cupcake boom, didn't even know, of the late 2000s, known for flavors like red velvet, ginger lemon, and s'mores.
Salted caramel was the best.
Kept finding ways to stay in the spotlight. 2012, that's when they introduced the Cupcake ATM, which felt both ridiculous and genius at the same time, but ended up helping to cement its place, Sprinkles' place, in pop culture food history. And then she exited the business.
I wish I'd known. I'd have gone for one more cupcake.
You know, celebrities were all over it, you know. Celebrity endorsements.
Mm-hmm.
Oprah ordered hundreds of cupcakes for one of her studio audiences. You get a cupcake, and you get a cupcake, and you get a cupcake. Tom Cruise was spotted picking up Sprinkles cupcakes for personal occasions.
Mm-hmm.
All of a sudden, 30 minutes is not too long to wait for a $4 cupcake.
Oh, we waited in line for cupcakes.
That's crazy.
I guarantee it.
That's funny. So there you go. That era has come to an end.
Mm-hmm. Well, I don't know if the whole cupcake era has come to an end.
No more cupcakes for
the
anybody.
Sprinkles cupcake era has come to an end. But, you know, it might be very similar to what we talked about when we talked about Starbucks, maybe sort of a victim of their own success.
Yeah, it could be.
Because my next question for you is, have you had a crumble cookie? They're also in the news.
The crumble cookies.
Crumble cookies. Okay, first of all, you said you've never had one. Is that true?
I don't know if I've never had. I think I have never had one. I've never bought one.
So part of their...
If somebody would give me a part of one, a bite of one, I think maybe in my life you might have given me a bite of one crumble cookie.
Uh-huh.
Are they, and this sounds really stupid, I don't know this, are they crumbles of cookies?
No.
Or are they regular size cookies? They just called it crumble.
They're great big cookies.
Oh, great big cookies.
Yeah, they started 8 years ago.
Okay.
I mean, I said they're about, I mean, if you're going to go out and buy a special cookie, most of the time they're going to be big, but these are big
Real
cookies.
big cookies, okay.
Yeah. And there was much I didn't understand about crumble cookies. One of the gimmicks is the flavors are new every week. The only thing they have all the time is the chocolate chip cookie. But every week there are new cookie flavors. What you had last week is gone. They might be similar to things that you had in the past, and maybe they'll bring in cookies that have been
you can't do it forever,
around before. But what that means is at the beginning of the week, like crumble cookie devotees know that the beginning of the week is not when you want to go. Because at the beginning of the week, the bakers in the store who are largely not pastry chefs. There are a lot of high school students, young people who are working at these, working in these locations. They're still getting the recipes right.
Like the new recipe.
This is brand new. This is not something they made last week.
Got it.
So by that time, early in the week, they're not going to be as good as they might be towards the middle of the week when they have a handle on it. And then if you wait too long, if you wait to the end of the week, they're gone. That's exactly right.
You missed the dad's root beer crumble cookie.
Yeah.
Or whatever it is.
Well, okay.
Something.
That's I guess you could. Does Dad's root beer have caffeine in it?
Maybe. Yeah, all root beer does, I think.
Listen, it's a Mormon based company.
Oh,
so they're closed on Sundays, which is a good thing.
Sure.
But also no coffee, no coffee flavor of anything. There will never be a coffee flavored icing or a coffee flavored cookie. Now they've moved into brownies and things like that too. They've diversified a little bit. So no coffee flavored anything. But they started just 8 years ago.
Are they going away?
They are not going away.
Okay. So they're stronger than ever.
They're stronger than ever,
Okay.
but they are having some. There are some growing pains.
Too quickly, too many things too quickly. Sometimes
yeah.
is what people do. They spread it out, and they find that every one of these places, it's kind of hard to be that successful in every place you open.
They're also franchised.
Oh, gotcha.
So they have some franchising issues, like the things that we talked about. When you're operated by young people, there might be some issues that you wouldn't have if you had places that were, really that were operated by pastry chefs, or if you had people with real baking experience, it might be a little bit easier to get over some of the rough spots of growing so quickly. One of the things that I thought was so funny, though, if you've ever had one before, they'll tell you that they're not meant to be. They're meant to be shared because they're big. And usually the way I've seen them before is like a box of 4 cookies. You may be able to get a box of 8 cookies. I don't think I've ever seen anybody like pick up one cookie and eat the whole thing. You break them into pieces. You cut them into little,
Are they cake-like in that they are thick?
They are sort of cake-like.
Okay.
They are, and that's a sticking point for some people. Some people think
is.
they're a little bit too gooey on the inside.
Yep.
But that's the way they say they're supposed to be. So if you like that kind of thing, crumble cookies might be for you. Last year, after word of an 1,100 calorie brownie sundae cookie.
One cookie?
With 110 grams of sugar went viral.
110 grams of sugar?
110 grams of sugar. That's another thing. I'm talking about going viral. These things are designed, the cookies are designed for social media. They have more followers on TikTok than like McDonald's, and it's like McDonald's and Starbucks together.
Okay, that cookie that you mentioned, the 100, how many thousand calories?
It's 1,100 calories, 110 grams of sugar.
1,100 calories. That one cookie has more calories than a Big Mac.
I'm sure. I'm sure a food policy expert at Northeastern University said that if these cookies were firearms, they'd be illegal.
Funny.
And so they say, they sell little crumble cookie dividers. You're not meant to eat one cookie all by yourself. But I tell you what, it's really easy to eat the equivalent of a whole cookie. If you think, I'm going to have just a little bit of this one, and then I'm going to have a little bit of this one, and I'm going to have a little bit of this one. I won't go out of my way to get them, but the ones that I've had, I'm a fan. You are a grandfather.
Sure.
Fairly new grandfather. I'd say for at least a month, we can call you a new grandfather. Once John West turns 1, you're probably not a new grandfather
That's correct.
Anymore. Did anybody offer to throw you a shower?
No. You mean for grandparents?
A grandparent shower?
First of all,
in fairness, these are grandma showers. So the guys might be getting left out of these.
I believe everyone should shower, not just grandparents.
It's not that kind of shower.
Nobody offered to do that for me, or I wasn't invited. That's fine. I don't really know. I've never understood much about the whole shower business, the business of showers.
What do you mean you didn't understand? You don't understand?
I mean, I know it's just a
I think for parents, it's
reason
great.
to get together. Yeah. No, you mean to get people to give you gifts?
Well, it's like what we do it for, bridal showers, wedding showers, couple showers.
Yeah.
Baby showers. I mean, ostensibly, someone who is having a baby for the first time, or even second time or third. I mean, I know people who've had showers for subsequent pregnancies too.
But how would it be for a grandparent? You mean to give gifts to the grandparents because at some point the grandparents will have to do something?
Oh, well, see, I thought you meant that you didn't really understand the whole concept of showers, period.
Oh, no.
Grandma showers are quite divisive. Yeah, a lot of people think that you shouldn't. You're stealing focus from the mom and dad, which I guess I'm not against.
But
I think it might be fun to have
gifts.
a little. Well, yeah, but does the grandma really need gifts?
No,
I mean
the grandmas, if there are two, or however many there are, if they're grandmas, they should go to the shower that is for the younger people,
but not have a shower.
They should go and sit in the kitchen and talk. And then stand there and write down what somebody gave you.
Yeah, but not get gifts for your own.
I don't think so. I mean, I'm not saying nobody. Who am I? I don't know what people should do. But
You seem to have
I
a
would
pretty strong opinion about this, though.
on most things. But I would say it doesn't really make sense to me. It seems like a thing you make up just to have more people give stuff, which I'm not really for.
I think it'd be nice to have a little get together celebration, maybe with your friends to celebrate the birth of your first grandchild. But I think even if you're going to have the baby at your house quite a lot, I kind of think that should be your responsibility too. If you want to have books and toys and things like that for the kids there, let the parents have the party where everybody brings them gifts. And if you want to have have all that stuff for the kid at your house, you be in charge of that. You be responsible for that.
Just a little point of personal privilege. I ran across, or someone showed me over the weekend, Jamie's little book when he was, Jamie is my son, one of my twin boys, and is the father of John West.
Yeah.
So we were comparing Jamie's size and John West's size. John West is 11 months old. And so look down at Jamie's weight.
At 11 months?
Actually, at 2 years.
Okay.
Jamie was 22 pounds. John West is 11 months old and is 26 pounds. 11 months old and is 26 pounds. So he's above he's 100%.
He's off the chart.
Yeah, profile. What's it? Profile?
Percentile.
Percentile, yeah. The 100% percentile. Anyway, but, in fairness, Jamie was one of twins. I mean, he was twins, so a little less room in there per person, per capita.
But you're talking now like about way after when he was out, right?
Sure, but I mean, you might start a little slider.
Yeah.
If you were, although John West was 7'12", and Chris was 8'5", and Jamie was 6'14". So
big twins.
Yeah, big twins. 15 pounds, 3 ounces of baby.
It's still amazing.
But it represented like 25% of Kathy's weight. It's a slight exaggeration, but not much.
But only slight.
It's only slight. So we will continue to watch all this going on with Maduro and all of that. All you liberals, we're glad to post a place where you can turn in your Palestinian flags and then pick up a Venezuelan flag. I mean, liberals don't know what to do. They don't know what to do. I mean, they had their Palestinian flags, and now they're going to turn them in for new flags. I saw a little thing that was President Trump, and it said, "Now for my next trick, I'll make Democrats support a narco-terrorist dictator," which sort of feels that way.
Yeah.
All right, that is the Wilder Show podcast. If you want to find us on Instagram, you can do that. It's very easy. Just go to Instagram, search Wilder Show Pod. If you want to send us email, just email to podcast@wildershow.com. The Wilder Show podcast drops Tuesdays and Fridays, 6 a.m. Central Time on Spotify, Apple Podcast, iHeart, Amazon, YouTube, also on the TikTok now and again. Wherever you get your podcasts, I hope you're leaving right now as you were listening. Like, rate, follow, subscribe, and share. Lauren, thank you.
Thank you.
And we'll see you next time.
da